somebody important. What fascinates me here is a change, or rather a possibility of giving a new meaning of the words and images by placing them in a new relationship. The next one is I don't know what will be left of me. Probably everybody is worrying about it because we think, oh my goodness, I have to leave something important of me. This is another one, I control myself, which means that sometimes, without reason, we are losing the control of ourselves because we are, for example, nervous with some not very important situation. This billboard says I can prove my existence by my ID. Sometimes documents, I believe, make us more real for some institutions and systems than our real presence. I have used media associated almost exclusively with commercial content, city lights and billboard to display my works. This is because I worked for several years for advertisement, and I believe that still there is a huge power in these tools, I mean advertisement, but very seldom they are used for art reason. This billboard says I like animals because I don't know how it looks in Indonesia. In Poland, almost everybody has cat, cat or the dog, but at the same time, many people eat meat. So this is quite surprising. Let's take a look at the short movie. Now I will move to my students of the Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology and Academy of Fine Arts in Warsaw. I will share with you what I am doing with them or what they are doing with me. I believe that we can study subjects or we also have a more extensive way. We can study ourselves. At first, I will share with you some projects connected with experimental typography. I believe that experimenting is the most important point in our way as an artist, and also in educational field. So let's say at the Tape Unite project.
Creating typography departments, then execute the poster design brief. Finally, the best projects from each university are exhibited and published in the catalog, which aims is to initiate a dialogue regarding the different approaches to the same topic. The ideas vary between individuals, but also often between the countries. For example, in the Language Relation edition, the students from Korea focused on using Hangul, whereas European students resorted to English in their designs. Through Tape Unite, I also realized that at first students try to use the resources, such as fonts already available on their computers, and found it challenging to convey an idea using only letters without a picture. However, through the process of experimentation, the students switched to designing their own letters, often using everyday materials, such as bricks, threads, feathers, bread, sugar, price labels, bills, or water.
So you could see how different materials students use to design their posters. We have difficult times. I don't know how COVID is in Indonesia. In Poland, I would say we have a quite worse situation than it was some month ago. But I will share with you how my students see isolation. Let's take a look at those two posters. First one is that we are sitting in our mobiles, which is true. And second one is isolation as a lonely person sitting at home. Now I will share some ideas regarding infection. Let's take a look. Infection can be kind of treatment. You can see Mona Lisa built by pills. And second one is just remindings of the pen or pencil. Now some posters devoted to fake news. This is here my student saw this topic. And now I will share some works in area of branding, because we are also doing this in our curriculum. I have an exercise titled Selfie, in which student has to define herself or himself and design a set of designs for herself or himself. And here you can see work by Isa, my student, and another idea by Magda, and some different designs which are defining my students as designers. Here I will share with you some ideas regarding packaging, because also we are working on that subject. And here, one of my favorite tasks I am doing with students, which is fanzine. I will share with you a short movie that will show a set of fanzines designed recently by my students. Now I will move to the very hot topic about the theme "No one is illegal," which I believe is true. I will take you to Barcelona. This is a work dedicated to the skate subculture. The student made it in pandemic time, but fortunately she had previously made a few films in Barcelona. A project is composed of many elements, but the most important is the concept of the work, which says, as I mentioned before, no one is illegal. The word gnar that you will see in the movie means something wonderful and risky at the same time. that was a diploma project. Now the visual identity of the international festival dedicated to the worst movies in the world. There is such festival in Poland, and you will see visual identification by my students. Again, that will be a diploma project. This diploma project consists a design of a set of posters, publication that have been screen printed. The students composed her diploma from many elements, but the final result is, I would say, a very constant visual identification of the festival. There is also a movie that is quite long, so I decided not to share in this part, but I believe that everyone can understand the idea. Now something about equality. In a moment, I will share a project. This is one of the latest diploma projects by my student devoted to the word and idea of equality. We organized a competition that was international one for animated posters, and we received about 1,000 works over the world. A concept of equality were referred in many different ways, showing how different that idea of equality can be seen. So now I will share with you a summary of the project, and you will see how my student decided to display the works that we got in the process of the competition. And do you remember at the beginning of my presentation, I mentioned how manifesto is important in art process and is important for an artist himself or herself. This is a project by my student again, which is a kind of manifesto. It says, I am right. I am right is a manifesto not about that my student is right, but about how our opinion is important for us, as sometimes we do not allow to others to share their ideas with us. That's why we have so many problems, I believe, in the world. I am right is a statement to show some the socio-political debates which often ended with the single declaration, I am right. Let's see a project. It says only, I am right. And this is a process we displayed in a city, in public spaces. And here will be kind of manifesto in the form of movie in which you will see some of students just walking through the city with the statement, I am right. I believe this is quite exotic to you. Just simple statement, I am right. Let's think about how you can make your statement about what it would be. What do you believe? What do you like? What do you for? What do you against? Magnify means enlarge. Now I will share a photography, or rather micro photography project by my student. The project is in progress, but I believe the student somehow discovered something new in her abilities. It was done by chance, doing experiment with camera. For me, this is very relaxing project, so take a breath, breathe, and relax. And to the end this hurricane of the pictures in a positive note, I will share with you a message done by my student long time ago, but I love this movie, which holds the message, never give up. Thank you very much. That was a pleasure to share with you some of my students' work. Here is our Instagram, so it would be great if you could join us. The Instagram is led by my assistant. We opened it recently, but I believe I can also share on our Instagram your work, guys. That works that we will create during the process of our program. Thank you very much. And James or someone, do I have 5 minutes more to share some posters and some information about the project that we are going to do? I just need your response.
Hello, Professor. Yeah.
Hello, James.
Hello. So, before we do that, perhaps, uh, is there any question from our student?
Guys, do you have any question to me? I will try to answer with a pleasure. James, do I have a time to share some posters related to the topic? Very briefly.
Oh, that will be wonderful, Professor. Please.
Okay, so let's do it. Give me a second. I will try Okay, I will go to share screening again. And here is, where is? Guys, I just shared with you the topic of our project. This is again violence. You have description in a link, just I shared. Now let's see for some inspiration regarding not only against violence, which this is what I'm meaning by good posters. First, I will start with Polish School of Posters. Let me skip the names because I know that Polish names are very difficult to remember, even to pronounce. I am a best example. Here is some posters by Henryk Tomaszewski, who is the hero of Polish poster and hero of international posters. Here you can see some examples, what I mean by good poster. Another hero in Poland, Jan Lenica, totally different style, and you can see some theatrical posters. Let's take a look at the style of this designer. And now the next one, you can see again another styles in designing posters. Here another examples, how simple message can be conveyed but beautiful form. And now some different authors that probably you may be familiar. Here an example of a very simple typographical style, but again by Polish designer. Here again more illustrative one. And how beautiful you can use photography in your project to build your wonderful message. Here again, a combination between combining photography and typography, and posters that we can call message without word. Look at how simple images they are, and how few words appearing in the posters. You can understand everything just from the visual message. Here are some international works I decided to share with you because I believe they are simply great. Iranian works. Iranian culture, I believe, is absolutely wonderful in the terms of their history and of their heritage. Here some works by Israeli designer Noam Bar. I love his works because again they are very simple visual messages that don't need any words to explain. Here some works related to a violence. What is actually our topic? Here are some works devoted to love and to the rights of voting. Here, very important topic about the truth or about the lie. Here are some posters regarding to the topic of poverty. And this is a set of posters designed, if I am not mistaken, by Japanese designer devoted to the Art Academy in Tokyo. Isidro Ferrer, one of my favorite designers from Spain. And now some social topics by Poster for Tomorrow. If you are not familiar, please visit their website. I've been a jury member in their poster competitions twice. They are absolutely wonderful. Here you can see some posters about shaping women in some cultures. Probably you will understand all messages without my explanation. Here about the freedom and about Trump. And those two posters are devoted to homeless people. I believe I don't have to talk much about the posters I am sharing. Now some ideas, again, to very important subject, which is ecology. Look how wonderful and simple those examples are. And also take a look and take note how many different ways you can use to create your own message. You can use photography, typography, drawing, painting, any other ideas that you have in your mind. The sky, I would say, sky is the limit. This one is about air pollution. Wonderful, simple, and very easy to understand message. Now some ideas in regards of freedom. I believe that everything is very easy to understand. Look, you can even use some object that will appear on your table. So you don't have to look for distance element. You can just find something very inspiring on your table. This is a poster which I like very much about junk food. And look, someone use very simple elements and combine them just to tell us that we are in a universe and we have a problem. Here, I believe a very easy to understand message. Those two posters are by Lukova, again great designer. Ice cream, which it means. Which can mean ice cream as sweet things that everybody like, and at the same time it means I am very unhappy. Guys, if you have any question, I would be happy to answer all of them. I would like just to share a calendar with you. However, the calendar I shared in a link I provided in our conversation, so everybody can see. But I just wanted to remind that 7th of December is a deadline of submitting works. I would like to ask you to save it in a size 10 per 7 centimeters. You have everything provided in the link. And we will see again each other on December 17. So I would be happy to review our works and see your great ideas. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking it so long.
Okay, many thanks to Professor Agnieszka. Those are actually quite amazing projects. I actually got motivated by them and inspired, so we really appreciate your time giving us your valuable insights. So our next session is the questions and answers sessions. If you have any questions, please ask them right away.
Very shy people.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening.
I would like to ask you a question. As a world-known designer, you must have a form of consistency that makes the public recognize your design right away. So my question is, how can you keep yourself consistent whenever you make an art or design? And how do you face your client every time you make a design for them? Thank you very much.
I didn't hear well the last part of the question, but I understood the whole message. So first of all, I am not a best person to ask about consistency because I am not very consistent person. I do not tell you that I have a specific style. I rather use style that I have it as my own. So this is, in my opinion, very difficult to keep the same style for every task I have. For example, if I am doing work for typographical reason, I use mostly typography. At the beginning of your work, I would advise you always ask yourself three questions, which is, let's say, onion idea. We can say it when we are talking about creative process. Why, how, and for whom? So those are three the basic questions that will allow you to answer all creative tasks, I believe. But about consistency, I am not consistent at all. Did I answer the question? Okay, I have a question in a chat. Hello, Professor. I have a question that I wanted to ask. From the beginning of Zoom, I see many of your works. How do you get ideas in making your work? Well, sometimes it is a very long time to me to find proper answer to the topic I have. But always, as I mentioned 5 seconds ago, I just ask myself three questions. Why? What I wanted to do? How I wanted to solve this problem? And for whom? Guys, very important is to ask the question just devoted to the specific task you have. I believe that trying to be the same every time, regardless of the topic we have, is not the best way that I would recommend. I hope I answered this question.
Yes, thank you, Professor. Any other? Oh, come on.
Very shy people.
Hello, Professor Agnieszka. My name is that's my name is Alicia. I would like to ask you some question. As a famous graphic designer, you have so many workshops around the world,
Yeah.
and surely you have so many achievements through your career. But I'm just curious, do you have any goals that you haven't achieved yet? Thank you.
Do you have? Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. Do you have?
Sorry. Do you have any goals that you haven't achieved yet?
Yes, sure, many. Many. My dream is to lead a poster gallery in Poland. So this is quite impossible to me, and I would like to have a space in public place in which I can show some works that I believe can work socially with audience. So still some things are impossible to me, but I am working on this.
Okay,
Thank
you, Professor. Any other person? Okay, Christian.
Testing. Hello, Professor. Dzień dobry. I would like to ask a question in particular about diversifying, like changing the way you would approach a certain subject matter. Is there some way that you would approach a topic that you wouldn't know, say in the form of art? Would you try a different medium, a different angle to it? If so, how would you go about it? That's all I want to ask. Thank you.
Okay, if you could simplify your question, I believe, hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I am not sure what is the question about. So that's why I would like to ask you to simplify the question, because you just gave a very long speech, and the question was about the media we use in our project, how to combine the proper media to the proper tasks. That was a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, Basically, some tasks are based on a specific media. For example, when UNESCO came to me, they asked me about doing some things, but they showed me that there will be a cover to the newspaper. So I note from the beginning which media I should use. I don't think about motion design or about kinetic design, because I know that will be just a static project. But always at the beginning, I am doing a research. I just try to answer myself why people come to me, because probably they are looking for something different that they have so far. So I am making a research just to check what I should not to do, that I should not repeat some past ideas, some things that the clients already have, and some designs that are too obvious. At the beginning, I am looking for something which is just proper to the topic I have, but also is totally different from the things I've seen before.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I hope that. Good evening, Professor. Have some question to ask as well. Could you share a little process in designing something from finding idea to executing, and how long did it take? Yes, I could, but I cannot do it now. This is very good question. Or just wait a second, maybe I will able to do it. But I need just a second to find one case that I have, because I've been asked many times about it. So, I can answer without showing anything the last part of the question. Sometimes the process of designing is very short. I just have an idea in 5 seconds, but sometimes it look even month. Now I have I've been asked to design something for a client, and actually the topic is very complicated, and I am doing every day a little progress, but still I feel this is not I am looking for. Case study. Okay, I will go to case study. I will show you a very simple case study for where is share screen? Here. And I will go to I will just to try to answer the question about creative process in very simple way. Guys, we have a city somewhere in the world which is called Bardejov. This is the name of the city, and the city is UNESCO heritage. It's very important in the historical aspect. I've been asked to design a poster. So at the first point, I did a research. I just checked how the city looked like. I never been to this city. It looked like this. And I discovered some historical aspects from the city, that there was a market and a very specific kind of architecture. So this is part of my research, some photos from the city. I discovered that the buildings that appeared in a market, they have very specific shape and they are very simple. And the market is built but almost the same buildings in the same shape. So then I go to the materials, which material I can use just to convey the message that the city is very specific and the city itself has very specific architecture connected with historical aspect. I decided to use paper, as I told you at the beginning, that I love working with paper recently. And I cut it just this shape, which reminds me the shape of the buildings I saw in the photos. And I cut it long time. It took me really several hours to cut this shape. Look how many I had. And then I decided to build a letter B from those shapes of paper. Here is the B I built from small buildings. I cut it from the paper, and you can see also a part in my studio how I composed the letter B. Again, the idea took me about a week, but to executing the idea took me 2 days, because in one day I cut the shapes, and another day I composed the letter B. And then I decided to just make a photo. I edited the photo and I added some information about the city. This is a city of Bardejov, UNESCO heritage, and B is equivalent of the name of the city and also of the building which you can see in a city itself. I also make a person with letter B to make it more visible, but finally I resigned from this because this was too obvious to me. So here you can see a process and the final project that I executed. Okay, I believe
so
that,
does anyone have any questions? Okay, please step in.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I'm so sorry for the echo. Looking at your design, most of them are really abstract and not real. It doesn't convey a very obvious message right away to the viewers. Don't you worry that when people look at your artwork, they would probably find it too complicated, or even in their mind for layman people, they would not find the design interesting or catch their eyes right away, that they would not try to learn to understand your design? Aren't you afraid about that? Because you're so brave about making things that look so random, yet you know what it means, but what if the public
sure.
does not understand what it means? How do you how do you try to find a way to communicate your art with the people? That's what because my basic is illustration, which is drawing. It's really straight to the point. It's just a drawing. It's drawing of a person or portrait. People know that, oh, it's a character. Right away, they understand this is an art for a character. But when it comes to design, it's a lot more complex. Like, people have to actually look at it properly to understand what the artist is trying to tell to the public. So can you please tell me, how do you find that confidence to use any design that you want, to tell your stories? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good question. And actually, I am worried about it. But also, I believe, as you mentioned, I am brave. That's why probably I am in a place in which I am. As for understanding design, please take into account that I am from Poland, which is kind of very specific school of design. And this is a place, big space for a metaphor. We always designing something, we just not put anything in a very obvious way, but we need from the viewer a kind of second for thinking, oh my goodness, there is one layer that is visible, but always I try to put something invisible, something hide between the line. What about the viewers? I believe that the viewers of the art are very intelligent people, so I believe in them, and I always believe that they will understand me. So to be brave, first of all, you have to believe in your audience.
So, I'm sorry. So does that mean when you design, you also need to learn the capacity of your audience?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
I believe that the possibility of my audience is huge. That I know that they are different people, but I know from my clients what they like in my design is not very literal answer to their question. That sometimes it needs to a moment to understand it, but if someone catch it, I believe that people have a pleasure, that he or she find it something more than just what can be seen on a paper. I try to involve a metaphor, something hidden between the line, as I mentioned.
Okay. Thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you very much for the question.
Okay, so that will be the final questions. Thank you, everyone. So those are actually some great questions. The Q&A session has ended.
Now, Professor, before we end this class, do you have some afterwards? Or anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I would like to thank to James for inviting me and for the authority of the university. I would like thank you to the lady in a scarf on her head. Yes, I mean you, for pronouncing my name. You are absolutely great. Thank you. I love you. And I would like to thank all students for coming and wishing you a wonderful day tomorrow. I've heard that you have a specific important day, something like holiday. Yeah, I am not familiar with your calendar. So guys, try to be yourself in your design, try to experiment and think about three things: how, why, and for whom. And if you find proper answer, I believe that you will design absolutely beautiful posters. After the process of designing, we will try to submit your works in some international competitions. So I wish you best of luck. I wish you professors from the university very fruitful works. And thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much,
For
Professor. Okay, so that's all for today's class. We would like to thank everyone for participating. We really appreciate your time here with us, and thank you, Professor Agnieszka, for your time as well.
I hope the
Thank you.
knowledge and experience you've shared will help us, young generations, to be better designers. Thank you. Now, before we end the event, we would like everyone to gather up to take a picture together.
Okay, everyone, so please gather up in front of the stage.
Semuanya silakan ke panggung ya, fotonya di panggung.